All right, welcome back to a special edition of Lost for Words. Today it's just Lori. You know, me. Haha. Anyway, so I decided that I was going to do some interviews and help some people out. Social media being what it is. And I have a platform where, we get to do interviews for musicians and such. And so I am going to cover a topic about the paranormal and ghost hunting and that kind of stuff, since I'm branching out and doing some things with that platform and doing some promoting and helping out. As you guys know, that my partner in crime and my better half, Mr. Toby Gamble, is doing a YouTube thing called Empires of the Lost with Toby, and he is out doing some paranormal research and ghost hunting and exploring and adventuring. And I thought this would be a really good opportunity to sit down and interview him and ask him a little bit about that realm, and I thought that would be a pretty cool thing to do. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you guys. You guys already know Toby from our Power Slaves show on Metal Messiah Radio, but we're going to do this a little bit different. So I'm going to introduce you guys to Toby, so say hello.
Hello.
So Toby has a YouTube channel called Empires of the Lost with Toby, and if you guys aren't familiar with YouTube, what happened is, if you're not all aware of current events and how those are all working out, I'm sure you are, the pandemic hit and everybody was worried about getting sick and they locked everything down, and amongst all of that we found ourselves pretty much being at home. And Toby had already been watching YouTube videos, and I'll circle around and go back. Before I moved to North Carolina, my daughter and I used to have Friday night pizza night, and she used to watch Ghost Hunters. And she just loved Zach Baggins and all that. And I never really gave two shits about it. I never really watched a lot of it. But that was kind of our thing. We'd order pizza and she'd watch Ghost Hunters. Or Ghost Adventures or whatever. Toby's correcting me over here because, but I never really paid that much attention to it. But when the pandemic happened, Toby had already been interested for many, many years in watching these things. And I started watching some of the YouTube channels that he watched. And I started getting into it with him. And for a while, he was like, I think I'd really like to start doing this. And so that kind of sparked my interest a little bit in just kind of watching those programs. But now he's doing this himself. So we're going to talk about that thing. So there's a lot of YouTube channels out there. So tell me, what got you interested in the paranormal in the first place?
Well, I think that's a good question. I started out thinking about, I like to know what's on the other side. What happens when people pass away and how it's like on the other side. I haven't found that yet, but I'm still looking. So I'm just interested in the whole process of the afterlife. How do they gain these special abilities when they have no bodies? And things like that nature. It's all supernatural type stuff.
So did you have like some kind of, I don't know, paranormal experience when you were a kid that made you interested in that? Did you?
Yeah, actually I have. I've had several occasions when I was a kid. Seeing things move when they shouldn't be moving on their own, to a actual haunted house I actually just stepped into that was my brother's. And to make a long story short, my brother was just like, hey, it's just ghosts, don't worry about it. I was like, when in the hell are you going to tell me that? She says, oh, he's not going to do anything to you. So you keep hearing these noises upstairs, like chains, balls and chains falling on the ground, things like that. So I decided to go take a look. Well, that was the wrong thing to do. Because obviously this ghost was kind of pissed off at the moment, I take it. And so when I got up there to that next room upstairs, I seen a wheelchair from one back of the room that was just sitting there. Nobody has touched it. No magic strings, people, back then. Okay? And seen that wheelchair move from that wall and been forcibly pushed coming my way.
That would creep me the fuck right out.
So as a young man, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I got my ass on out of there. So I went back downstairs and I said, I'll check you later, Ronnie. And then I left.
And you didn't think anything of it as a kid other than, my brother's house is haunted and I'm splitting.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not going back in there until he moves.
And so you didn't really, you're just a kid and, it's a haunted house and I'm not going back in there.
Well, you just, as a young man, I just thought, like, my thoughts at that moment was like, okay, this usually don't happen. How the hell did that happen? And your mind starts stirring as you grow. It's like, okay, is this for real, or am I just seeing things? So I'm like, you know what? I'd really like to know what's actually what happened then. Did an actual ghost get behind the wheelchair and say, you know what, fuck you, get out of here, and shove the wheelchair, try to run me over the wheelchair? Or was he just, it was a residual. And a residual is something that happens like when you pass away, you continue to live like you were, like you had never passed away. Or it can be poltergeist. You can be pissed off at the world still in the afterlife and be mad that you're up there when you're not supposed to be up there. There's a whole kind of ring-around story about all these ghosts and how they react to the living still.
So your interest in that is really multiple layers of the story behind an individual ghost, or a story about the house, or just anything.
Yeah, because paranormal activity can happen within spirits, within the place that the house is built on, to you build it on the wrong kind of grounds, like Native American.
Sure.
That can cause all these activities to happen. So you got to look in whenever you go in to investigate, you got to look into these things. The history of the place. How safe is it for me to go in there? Those type of things you got to do before you even enter a place.
So what do you like the most about ghost hunting, about investigating paranormal experiences and ghost hunting? What do you like the most about it?
A lot of people would say they like the thrill of the ghost hunt.
Like the adrenaline junkie kind of thing, or
I'm totally opposite. I like to know why the ghost is still there. I would like to know if I can help them in any way, or are they at peace. I like to know these other things that other people, it's like, oh, I got to have the experience and get me all psyched up. Well, no, I'm not like that. I'm more of an easygoing, laid-back kind of guy who wants to know the information. Why did you pass here? What happened? Can you give me a story of what you used to do when you were living? Those type of things. And that's just the way I am.
What do you like the least about ghost hunting and investigating?
The poltergeist activity. When stuff starts being thrown, and not even the cussing, because spirits do cuss because they used to be living.
Well,
but
us living people, we cuss too.
Exactly. But when stuff starts being thrown and you're getting hurt by the stuff that's being thrown, that's when you got to draw the line. And that's the thing I do not care for. I don't care for people who claim, quote, that they're paranormal investigators when they go in there and they fake things, like with magic string and, just fake things like it's not really happening.
Well, that brings me to another really interesting question. Like, what do you think about the big, the big shows like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and those kind of programs that kind of make it sensational, and some of it seems a little sensational and overdone. What do you think about those kind of programs?
I think if they're going to do it for an entertainment spot, then they should claim that. They should tell everybody, this is for your entertainment purpose. And I'm not actually a ghost investigator. I'm not an investigator, paranormal investigator. I'm here to entertain you. That's what should be said. And if you are really doing the investigating, you should let everybody know this is the real deal.
What do you want other people to know about ghost hunting and about paranormal investigating?
Well, for one, I would like to take this time to let everybody know, if you're going to do this, you've got to keep your mind open to all possibilities. Okay. 2, do not trespass. If there's a trespassing sign, don't go over and do it anyway, because that's breaking the law, and Mr. Gamble here don't do that. So I kind of encourage you not to do it as well. There's nothing worth it. No worth in going into a place that you're going to get hurt or you're going to break the law. It's just not worth it. I think if, like I said, just have a positive attitude when you go into places, because ghosts pick up on negative energy. And they will pick up that if you're scared as hell, which you are going to be when you first investigate. No kidding. Okay? All jokes aside. But the ghosts are going to pick that up, and when they do, they're going to fuck with you. And some of them might be just out of evil intent. Some of them might be just jokers, and they just want a practical joke on you.
So do you think that the spirit world, or people who are in that realm of the spirit world, are happy that people are wanting to talk to them and make conversation, or are recognizing them? Or do you think they're angry or just want to be left alone?
I think it's both.
Do you?
Yeah. I think some of them are happy to have people there talking with them and have a good conversation, just like they were alive. Then there's some that just wants to be left the hell alone. And when they let you know, hey, leave me alone, then respect that. Just go somewhere else and leave the people alone. It's just like if you was going to someone's house and you don't even know them, they say, get the hell off my lawn. Okay, then you need to respect that and say, okay, I'm sorry to bother you, and go on your own way. If someone says, oh, come on, let's pop over a cold one, or let's have some tea or whatever, and they want to sit and talk to you, treat them like human beings, because they once was human beings at one time.
That seems to be your philosophy, is you treat the dead just like they were the living, and have respect for them just like you would a real living person.
Exactly.
That seems to be a pretty good philosophy, I would think. What would you like to do going forward? I mean, I know you're just starting out your YouTube channel. It's starting to grow. You're pushing for a goal, and just like all other YouTubers as well. But what would you like to do going forward? I mean, you've got a few videos out there. You're doing some investigating. You've got plans, but...
Well, my goal right now is to hit every kind of haunted place that I can possibly get a hold of in North Carolina. And then branch out to other states. And then eventually, and I'm talking about in future plans, is possibly taking a trip overseas and doing some of the stuff over there in the UK, Ireland, and Scotland, things like that. But right now, it's just in North Carolina.
So do you think that it doesn't matter how long of a history a place has? Like if it's, like for instance, we're talking about, say, Great Britain and the United Kingdom. I mean, those places have history that goes back long before America was settled. But do you think those places have more history of hauntings, more than, say, here? Or can you find just as much activity here from recent disasters? For instance, you could go to, England, and they have all this history from way back in the Middle Ages, and plagues and yada, yada, yada. But what about, like, say, 9/11 or Sandy Ridge, or Sandy Hook, sorry. Sandy Ridge is here in North Carolina, my apologies. Sandy Hook, or some of the other tragedies that have happened, say, the Hurricane Katrina, or those kind of things. Do you think those things are just as valid, or can have just as much activity, even though they're more recent?
I think they, no matter where you go, like for example, I can step outside my door here where I live, and you're going to get activity, because I believe ghosts are everywhere. Spirits are everywhere you go. It doesn't have to be at a graveyard. It doesn't have to be in Ireland or the UK, or, just in a certain spot. Some spots, I believe, are hotter than others from the activity that, whatever occurred there. But I still believe that you can go down the street or outside your door, and you pop open a spirit box, you're going to get responses, because they're everywhere. I believe spirits can travel from one place to the other. So that's just my thought and my opinion on that there.
Out of all of the places that you've been to so far, which is a handful of places, what's your favorite one that you've been to?
Wow, that's a good question. I actually have two. Okay, the scariest one of the bunch is the cotton mill.
The cotton mill?
Yeah, I think it's Oakdale Cotton Mill. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's in Jamestown, North Carolina. It was damn spooky. Okay, and I'll tell you, there's something in there that me and my colleagues that do other ghost hunting, we couldn't figure it out. But there was something in there that was not nice. There was stuff in there that I think spirits were in there, that they're continuing to work in the making cotton. because you heard conversations and you heard walking around like they were working. We couldn't figure it out. It just gave me chills on the back of the spine. When that happens, hey, shit's about to hit the fan. So, but I think the most one I enjoyed the most because it wasn't, so eerie and real spooky was a trivia clinic in North Carolina. Very, very haunted, very active, but the spirits are not pertaining to evil.
They're not malicious.
Malicious or anything like that. They're just there, and they love speaking to you. They love touching people. So if you ever get a chance to do that place, I would guarantee you're going to walk out there with activity.
Not me. that's not my thing. But again, bless all you guys who are interested in that kind of thing. But like I said, mine is a supporting role. I'm the supporting actress. I'll get my Oscar for that. But I'm not interested in talking to ghosts really. But where do you see yourself in 5 years? If somebody asked you as a paranormal investigator, I mean, I know you took this on as a hobby. This was something that you wanted to do because you're very interested in it. And I know that a lot of people, the big thing is, everybody wants to be a YouTube star and make money and yada, yada, yada. I mean, not the reality being statistically that most people aren't going to be Zach Baggins and they're not going to be, TV stars and have their own, their own network, channel thing go on. But where do you see yourself in 5 years? I mean, do you think you're going to do this for a long time? Is this something that you're always going to want to do regardless of what happens?
Yeah, I believe I can see myself doing this for a long time. I want to get it to as far as like for example, the Paranormal Files does with Kid Spooky and Papa Spooky.
They're fun. I like watching their program.
Because they go all over the United States, and getting permission and going into places and actually catching stuff, on the video equipment. They don't have a bunch of equipment. They use a lot of basic. Sometimes, something that they do have is a little bit expensive. And in my point of view, I say go with basic. Basic's easy to get, and you capture more stuff because spirits sometimes are like, what the hell is that he's got in his hand? And then you grab a teddy bear, they're going to know what that is, or at least announce what this equipment does, and that kind of gives the spirit, an idea. Hey, this is what I should do.
That brings up a really good point. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, some of these spirits that people are talking to, like when they go to a Confederate battlefield or whatever, if they're talking to a spirit, I mean, they're not going to know what some of these gadgets are or anything like that. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of paranormal investigators have to talk about what it is that they're doing, like come to this light thing or whatever, or this is a camera that takes pictures because, ghosts before modern times wouldn't know what these things are.
Correct.
So, I mean, that would be a little confusing, I think, if I were a ghost or, I wouldn't know what the hell is that device that you've got there.
Well, in that case, if you're on a Civil War site, you use things that they're going to recognize as trigger objects, which, for example, dowsing rods. They're going to know what that is.
Yeah, because the farmers use those to find water and...
Or a bullet, a musket bullet. Or, for example, just use your recorder. And just tell them, hey, you can talk into this, and they'll pick up what you want to say. It'll record what you want to say. You just do little simple things. And I guarantee you, at least 90% of the time in the Civil War, area that's had a lot of bloodshed and stuff, you're going to pick up something because they're still fighting. They don't know the war is over. They don't know that they're dead. So that's the sad part about the whole thing.
It's creepy.
But with that, trigger objects are best.
What is the one place that's on the top of your bucket list that you're really, really excited, want to go explore? I mean, at the moment, I'm sure there's probably a lot of places, but what's at the top of your list? Like, if money wasn't an object and you could just get up and go, like, you've seen a lot of people go to it, or where's one place that you really, really want to go? Like, at the top of your bucket list.
You know what?
Off the top of your head.
That's a good question because I like to go to places that people don't go.
Right.
Like for example, I would like to do a nursing home that's still active when someone just passed away.
Right.
Things like that. I'm not really big into the the big places that everybody's already done. You've done those places. Just find something else.
Right.
You know? I like the small places that people don't know that's haunted. You know, and go in there and say, hey, I'm here if you want to talk.
So you'd rather go somewhere that's kind of undiscovered or
Yeah.
untapped that people haven't seen before,
Yeah.
as opposed to like, you know, the big name things that everybody's been to. The
Exactly.
Banner Elks and the big old asylums that everybody's been to.
There's gonna be big time activity in those kind of places, yes. But
Right.
as far as going in there and not trying to get hurt because the floor's giving out, that's not a good idea.
Sure.
But everybody, like I said, everybody's done those. I want to do stuff that no one's done.
Sure.
You know, like for example, we just recently did a school that used to be a segregated school, and this place we're me and Mason Mason from MJC Paranormal.
Hey, you got it right.
Yeah. We just looked at this place like, oh, there ain't nothing gonna be here, but we're filming anyway, right? Well, we get in there, we get permission from the owner to be there. And we go inside there and we start filming, and all of a sudden activity just starts happening out of the blue, and we're like, what the hell? So, like I said, it doesn't have to be a big place and a popular place where everybody says it's haunted. It just has to be a place that no one's ever been.
What do you say to people who are in the same boat that you are? A small YouTube channel, you know, maybe 90 to 100 subscribers who are just trying to build their channel and have days where they feel discouraged and want to give it up. What do you say to those people?
I say stick it out. Because I've been in that exact same place.
And you're standing there right now, right?
Yeah, where I just wanted to quit because I'm not getting the followers, I'm not getting the subscribers and all that. But you know what? When it all comes down to the end, it's not the number, it's the quantity. Or quality, I should say, I'm sorry. The quality. You know, you do it for other people because they enjoy watching it. You know, I'm personally not in it for the money. Other people may be. I'm in for it for the history. I'm in for it for, you know, the unexplained.
You're looking for answers.
I'm looking for answers.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like if you first time you go to school, you don't know what school's going to be like. You want to be able to step in there and feel it out a little bit. So that's what I'm kind of doing. I'm seeing what the afterlife is kind of going to be like, and that way I'm not so surprised of getting a foot in my ass when I go through the door.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah. So you just want to feel things out. And I just say to everybody that's small in their community of paranormal investigation, stick it out. Keep doing what you do and do what you love. Regardless of what everybody else thinks, regardless of how many other people is subscribed to you by the thousands, their shit is not going to be as good as raw shit.
Right.
So
well, and I love the thing I've been seeing in your community where everybody says, you know, we all start at zero.
That's it.
And I just love that. It's just a good way of looking at it. We all start somewhere at the bottom, and we just have to grow. You know, it's like water the plant, water the plant. So I think that's a really good philosophy as well. Future plans. What are we gonna expect from Empires of the Lost with Toby?
Well, within 2 weeks, me and MJC Paranormal Mason, my comrade in arms, is going to go up into the North Carolina, the Battleship Carolina, up in Wilmington.
Mm-hmm.
And we got access for all night long on that ship to investigate. Again, it's a big area.
That's kind of a big deal, isn't it?
It's kind of a big deal. Everybody's done it. But hey, I've never had this opportunity, so I'm going to take it. You know, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to capture something because this ship has been in many battles, you know, and it's real active, and they've had a lot of death on this ship. So I'm going to button up and put on my armor and just go through there because it's going to be a wild trip.
So that'll be fun for you. You're looking forward to that.
Yeah, so that's one. We got something else coming up. I cannot tell you what it is.
Of course, tease.
Yeah, well, it has to be teased for now is because they're getting permission to do so right now, and when we have to wait for that okay. But I'll tell you this much. It's going to be a place where things that happen, again, that's very active, and people don't understand what's going on there. They do stuff there still as like celebrations and parties and stuff like that, but I will let you know as soon as I am possible and able to do so, to let you know what that is. But like I said, I can't give it out right now, but it's going to be exciting. And we got some other things coming up. We got trying to remember the place where it was at. We're going to go hunt for Bigfoot.
Oh, that's right. You went to a museum.
Yeah,
You and
haunted-
Mason went to a UFO
museum.
Bigfoot museum in Littleton.
Yeah.
And they've got some interesting things going on over there.
Yeah, if you're interested in that, and just shoot me a message or get with Lori here, and we'll give you the information to that place. They take a donation right now because of the pandemic to go in there, but it has some very interesting, creepy ass stuff in there. So, but anyways, we're gonna go Bigfoot hunting with these guys. They're gonna set us up with the park rangers out in this little one area back there, and they've captured Bigfoot, and also I think it is not Civil War, but it's Revolutionary War soldiers.
Oh, wow.
On infrared.
That's crazy.
So there's a lot of activity out there, you know. So again, I'm gonna put on my helmet of power and hope I don't get a rocking head. But it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna try to start doing some Bigfoot hunting and UFO hunting as well. So just keep an eyes and ears open for that.
Well, tell everybody where they can find your YouTube and your other social media.
Well, if you go on YouTube and you search for Empires of the Lost with Toby, it'll bring you right up to it.
And don't forget, what is that? Like, share, subscribe,
And punch that like button.
punch the like button. You guys can find Toby on Instagram. You can find him on YouTube. You can find him on
Twitter,
Facebook, all those other social media platforms. You can also find him here every Saturday on Metal Messiah Radio. We do a weekly power metal radio show, playing the best in power metal from around the world. And we also do our podcast here for Lost for Words. We talk and dish about all sorts of wonderful things, so we're branching out there as well. So we hope you guys enjoyed this little dish, and we're looking forward to talking to you in the future. So have a fantastic day, and we'll talk to you all soon.
thank you.
Bye.